Hey gang, I'm back home in Jinan. I had a wonderful few weeks exploring China, but now it's back to work as usual. So this week, I want to talk about my interest in environmentalism. Well, I mentioned this in my last video as well. Besides video games and writing, this is one of the greatest influences in my life and the biggest concern I have with today's world. Of course, I am a strong and active supporter of strict environmental protection and industrial regulation. So let me share how I came to be thus involved and how I continue to participate in this topic. Well, I suppose I might have become more interested in this issue when I was 12. I had probably learned about environmentalism and recycling before that, but it wasn't until that point that it really hit me. That was when I saw one of my first movies in the cinema, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. I really enjoyed that movie, and it really got me to thinking. The environment needs our help and support. People's activities constantly cause problems for the environment, and we need to be mindful and do what we can to undo the destruction we cause. But, of course, I was only 12 years old, and I didn't know what I could do to help. I was mainly concerned with producing less waste, as everything people did made a lot of waste that eventually ended up in landfills. Back then, I brought my lunch to school in a paper bag, and continued to use the same paper bag day after day for as long as I could. I would just fold it back up, slip it into my pocket, and open it up for the next use. I continued that habit all through high school. That was just one way I tried to do my part back then. Sometime later, I also started to reuse the plastic bag inside it as well, but looking back at that, I realized it might be a bit disgusting and unsanitary. But I was committed to my cause. And while I wasn't much of a plant guy, I did spend a bit of time in my local nature preserve. In 1994 or maybe 1995, I started watching Captain Planet and the Planeteers, and thoroughly enjoyed it as well. I wanted to be a Planeteer, too. I guess between 1992 and 1995, it was the age of environmentalism, kind of stuck between the age of video games and the age of anime. Well, I was highly impressionable. I was very surprised that not everyone was doing what I was doing. At that time, I felt that if people did not stop with their wasteful lives and give back to the environment, it would have disastrous and irreversible consequences. Well, I wasn't wrong. By 1996, I made it my sole responsibility to protect the environment and prevent any more destruction from taking place. Because I thought that if action was not taken before the end of that year, it would no longer matter. In 1997, I joined my school's recycling club, where I was given the task of emptying the recycling receptacles in each classroom and bringing it to their recycling dumpster. No easy task, considering how many classrooms there were in my school. In late 1997, I got my first credit card and immediately started donating money to Rainforest Action Network, usually $25 a month, but after 2000, I upgraded it to $50 a month. And then they sent me stickers and return address labels. I also donated to World Wildlife Fund infrequently. I think I continued to donate until about 2006. I was big on donating money back then. Little did I realize that it would lead to my poverty. Well, the more you give, the more people want. Regardless, I continued to be very environmentally active, even into college. While I didn't join any environmental organizations in college, With my class, we met with the United Nations on a monthly basis, video conferencing. And as part of my class's environmental task force, I was given the task of discussing world environmental policy with the UN Environmental Committee or whatever it was, and asking questions to their chairperson and talking with the then United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan. I argued with them that the world was not doing enough to protect the environment, and they schooled me on environmental policy and everything. Well, considering that this was at the lowest point in my life, I'm surprised I did so much, which only reflects the passion with which I concern myself about this issue. As a math major, I didn't take any environmental courses in my school or even know of their existence. Well, that was certainly an oversight of the school itself. So, after college, I still had no career outlook. I wanted to get into intelligence, but didn't know how to go about it. Environmental protection was still a huge priority, but I didn't know any careers that would provide such service, and certainly I was unqualified even if there were. But I continued to do my part to protect the environment even after college, such as reusing old shopping bags again and again, even before canvas shopping bags were commonplace. I did my best to mitigate waste. I always recycled when such a service was available. I followed the principle of the three R's religiously. Many of the novels I wrote deal with this topic also, especially environmental deregulation, which is so prevalent today. In 2008, I bought several textbooks on hydrology to teach myself the subject and hopefully get a job in environmental protection. Water protection was my top issue. In 2010, I started a business, EcoGearStore.com, to provide environmentally sound products for people looking for a green living, but without capital to fund the project, it simply fell into obscurity. In 2011, I lost my job and job hunting became my main concern, placing everything else on the back burner. Then in 2014, I moved to China. So I teach English, but my prolific topic of study continues to be environmental protection and recycling, which I am sure to teach to every one of my classes in all the countries I've taught. Well, I haven't been very successful in my pursuit to protect the environment. Indeed, the task I set out for myself since 1996, but then again, I haven't had any success in anything I've done in my life, so I'm par for course. So why am I so deeply committed to the environment? Well, the answer is obvious. So, we only get one Earth. If we screw it up, that is it. We would end up dooming ourselves as a species and every other living thing on the planet. It just pays to be good to her. I really don't understand why other people cannot understand this, but many are blinded by greed and foolish ambition. If everyone does just a little, as I have done, to make the world better, we will be able to have a better and brighter world, not just for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. Well, of course, I wish I could have done more, but I do feel that I have done my part to contribute to a better future for our world. Thanks again for listening to my story. This is an issue I take very seriously and personally. I'm the kind of person who gets sad at Christmas time because I feel bad for all the trees that must be cut down at the prime of their life. Granted, plants cannot feel physical pain, but some part of me feels that deep down they really deserve better. If you feel the same, please give a like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you feel so inclined, please consider supporting me on my Patreon as well. Link below. I look forward to sharing more with you next time. The power is yours.